Hey everybody, I'm Jack Rita, and I'm a designer on expansions for the Classic Dune board game. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about a power alliance between two factions that I call the Aerial Alliance. And that is one between the Spacing Guild and House Richesse. And it's called the Aerial Alliance because the shipping advantages of these two factions is central to what makes it a very strong faction. But it's not all. There's quite a bit else that goes on that contributes to making this a power alliance. So let's dive in, and we're going to start with the aerial portion of the Aerial Alliance. Now, of course, with the Spacing Guild, they're going to get half-price shipping. That's just one of their normal advantages. So they could send 8 forces into Arakeen, and it would only cost them 4 spice. So it's half-price shipping. And they can go straight into the desert and not lose money or break even. They can actually come out ahead by shipping directly. Now, with House Richesse, they have a pretty good shipping advantage as well by using their no-field tokens. So they have 3 no-field tokens, and the opposite side will have a number. So it's either 0, 3, or 5, and that number is how many of their forces are being shipped. So part of the fun here of the no field is that the other players don't know how many forces you are shipping. Now, of course, with 0, you're not shipping anybody, and that's more of a bluff. But there are other reasons why you might want to use that 0 no field token. But let's focus on the 3 and the 5. If they're sending 3 or 5 forces covertly down, they're only paying as if shipping 1 force. So this is actually slightly better on average anyway than even the guild rates. So they could send 5 forces into Arakeen for 1 spice, whereas 5 forces for the guild is 3 spice. So it's a pretty good return on their investment here. Now, if you're allied to the guild, one of the big things is, of course, your shipments are half price as well. So, you know, the Richesse, they still would be 1 spice, but if they're shipping into a desert territory, then it's only 1 spice to ship 3 or 5 forces if they're using the no fields. Now, they can ship without the no field tokens and then just benefit like a normal faction does, so half price shipments as well. They can also do the cross shipping, so they're shipping from one location on Arrakis to another location rather than coming from their reserves. So that works out pretty well. So this ability to be able to ship a lot of forces down means that it's often very easy for one or either of these factions to basically outdial their opponent. And that's key. That's the key to how the Spacing Guild wins a lot of their battles. They don't have very impressive leaders. The Richesse leaders on average are a little bit better overall, but also not spectacular. So if you're not counting on your leader strength per se to help you to win those battles, you know, there's no guarantee that you'll have the right weapon or defense. You might not be able to kill the opposing leader and save yours, but you have a lot of forces, and you generally, the Spacing Guild has a lot of spice, so in advance, they're able to spice style as well. So you're just basically outdialing another player in order to beat them. But here is also where Richesse can come in handy. Their other ability that they have, their other advantage, is they're selling these Richesse treachery cards. And one of the things that they can do is when they have a Richesse treachery card in their hand, they can just give it to their ally at any time. There's no restriction when, and if they have multiple in their hand, they can give multiple away as long as their ally's hand is not full. So Richesse is not really an economy faction. They're kind of a half economy faction. But the Spacing Guild is definitely one, so they can help Richesse buy their own card that they put up for auction because they can basically guarantee to get the last bid. They use the once-around auction, and whoever ends up bidding the highest Richesse can usually outbid them with the help of the Spacing Guild. So if the Spacing Guild buys a card, of course, they're going to give that spice right to Rich S, which is nice. So if Rich S wants them to just get the card outright, they can make a big bid for it and then put that spice right into Rich S's hand. Or they can help Rich S pay for a card. That's going to go to the Spice Bank if they do. But then it goes into Rich S's hand, so they have it. And they can, of course, give it to their ally when necessary. So part of the strategy here is the Spacing Guild helps Rich S get a full hand of cards, but to definitely get one of their own cards. And they have a number that are very powerful. Probably their 3 most powerful cards. One is a Karama. So if they buy a Karama and they put that into the Spacing Guild's hand in advance, that means the Spacing Guild can use their once per game Karama effect, which is to prevent another player from having a shipment action. And that can be huge. When the Aerial Alliance is ready to go for the win and they can say, great, I got the Karama. The one faction that's going to have the best chance to stop us, maybe the Emperor, something like that, boom, they don't get to ship. So that's going to really slow them down and prevent them from stopping this alliance from getting the win. Another card that they could sell is the Stoneburner. And having the Stoneburner means that you can win a battle just by having more forces in that territory. And then the other one is the Null Entropy Box, which what that lets you do is you spend a 2 spice, you pick up the discard pile, you secretly look through it and find a card that you want and put it in your hand, and then you put the Null Entropy on top so that nobody really knows which one that you took. And if Rich S uses Null Entropy to get a card, and the card that they get out of the discard pile is a Rich S Treachery card, they can just give that to the Spacing Guild. So they might be like, great, you helped me buy the Null Entropy Box, and you helped me buy the Stoneburner, and maybe we use the Stoneburner to win a battle, and then we use the Null Entropy Box to get it back out, and then whichever one of us needs it is going to be the one who gets it. It's a very hateful but perfectly legal approach, and one that is made very easy by this alliance. So if Rich S has a rich ally, it means they're going to be able to buy their cards. Now, if Rich S buys the Karama, their special once per game Karama effect is that they can just basically buy any one of their own special treachery cards for not very much spice. And if you've got a rich ally, it's going to be much easier for you to do things like that. So again, they're secretly buying one of their cards. So maybe they picked up the Stoneburner, maybe they picked up something else. Maybe they've gotten all of their forces down and they buy the Ornithopter so that they can move 2 groups of their forces, 3 territories, and then boom, boom, they get into 2 more strongholds. Ship into one and then move a bunch of forces from the Polar Sink into 2 other strongholds. Yeah, that can be a big deal. Or they give that Ornithopter to the Guild and the Guild does it. So, yeah, you have a lot of possibilities. But yeah, it centers around the fact that the Aerial Alliance can cheaply ship down a lot of their forces and basically overwhelm their opponents. And then they can use the income of the Spacing Guild to put choice cards into Rich S's hand, which they can then just give to the Guild at the right moment and keep the other players guessing. I'm not sure which one of those cards they gave to the Guild. It takes a couple of turns to do that because they're only selling 1 card per turn. But again, if somebody has played a Rich S card, yeah, that becomes eligible. If it ends up in Rich S's hand, they can just give it to the Spacing Guild whenever they want. So there you have it. That's the Aerial Alliance. Let me know if you have any questions about this alliance. And if you've had a chance to see it in action, let me know how they did, whether you were playing them or playing against them. Were they able to parlay their advantages into victory? That is it for this one, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.